Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a peace offering for President Trump. We have the Venezuelan opposition leader's gift to Trump after he casted doubt on her ability to lead. And controversial immigration legislation is gaining traction in Frankfurt. Why some lawmakers say it's critical for public safety and others warn it could make communities less secure.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Caroline Mueller here with you on this Friday, January 16th. The time is now almost 5 o'clock, so let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Megan Desmel for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, we have made it to Friday.
We have. We're finally at the end of the week, and unfortunately, it's not looking like a good start to the weekend as those temperatures are plummeting, and we're seeing another chance for a wintry mix and for some snow. This morning, seeing some flurry activity picking up on satellite and radar. It's not in the region just quite yet, but folks in portions of Pulaski County may start to see some flurries within the next hour or so. For the most part, we'll stay dry during the daytime hours with that round of wintry mix picking up as we're heading into the evening and overnight hours. But one of the main concerns that I have this morning for you guys as you're heading out the door are those temperatures. I mean, we're talking teens for everyone, with the exception of Prestonsburg at 20 degrees and Monticello at 21. But the wind chill values this morning are especially cold, so bundle up, do what you got to do, wear those layers. It's going to be a cold day all day long, with high temperatures warming up into a mixture of the mid-40s, which is an improvement from yesterday, but still definitely chilly. Caroline.
Thanks, Megan. President Trump is threatening to send the U.S. military to Minnesota as protests continue in the Twin Cities. Overnight, more demonstrators against the presence of federal immigration agents intensified following the second shooting involving an ICE agent. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
Another night of intense protests in Minneapolis. Federal agents pinned one man down as they clashed with demonstrators. The latest spike in tensions comes after an ICE agent shot a Venezuelan migrant in the leg earlier this week. President Trump Thursday morning threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act and send the U.S. military into the Twin Cities.
You have local and state leaders who seem to be encouraging violence and all of this madness, and the president's frustrated about it, and so are we.
That would probably lead to more violence.
As Minneapolis's mayor calls for cooler heads,
we cannot counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos.
Cell phone video shared by a Minnesota state senator appears to show another version of what happened after Wednesday night's shooting. In the aftermath, a woman calls 911 pleading for help. She says her husband, the Venezuelan migrant, whom authorities say was in the country illegally, was chased by ICE agents before he reached his home and was shot in front of his family. According to the Department of Homeland Security, he and two others attacked an agent with a shovel and broom handle, and the agent fired in self-defense. As that investigation and the protests continue, volunteers are stepping in to clean up.
We picked up water bottles, milk cartons, gas canisters, flashbangs.
Helping where they can when that help is needed most. Jared Hill, CBS News.
FBI Director Kash Patel says a person has been arrested in relation to vandalizing a federal vehicle in Minneapolis. The FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the return of property stolen from the car. President Donald Trump hosted Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado at the White House as part of her push to strengthen ties with the U.S. Machado gave President Trump her Nobel Peace Prize medallion during her visit. On social media, the president called it a wonderful gesture of mutual respect. It's an award he's wanted for quite some time. The lunch meeting, which Machado says went very well, came almost 2 weeks after the U.S. captured former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
As a recognition for his unique commitment with our freedom.
I can't think of anybody in history that should get the Nobel Prize more than me.
Soon after, President Trump said it would be hard for Machado to lead Venezuela because she lacks respect from its citizens. Kentucky lawmakers could take action on several issues regarding immigration and customs enforcement this session. Eastern Kentucky State Senator Philip Wheeler is sponsoring Senate Bill 86, which requires state and local police to work with immigration and customs enforcement. Governor Beshear and others have concerns about the legislation.
We need to get, some of these hardened criminals that flooded over the border during the four years of the Biden administration out of the country.
Well, I haven't reviewed the bills specifically, but any bill that mandates that our law enforcement work with ICE upon their request is going to make us less safe instead of safer.
There's similar legislation in the House. House Bill 47 would also set up a task force model to require state police to enter into agreements with ICE. There's no word on when either bill will be heard in committee. One proposed bill would change Kentucky law when it comes to licensed child care centers and how square footage is calculated. Representative DJ Johnson, an Owensboro Republican, proposed House Bill 190. It would change the definition that determines how many children are allowed in each daycare center. Johnson says under current law, only classrooms count toward square footage. He wants to change the law to include classrooms and hallways. More square footage means more children allowed.
It redefines the square footage just a little bit to help the daycare centers maybe make it and stay open. And the short answer is if they can't make it financially, they close and we got no child care. It may involve having 1 or 2 extra children in the facility, but 1 or 2 extra children is a little bit more revenue that a nonprofit might need to continue to keep the doors open, and for the for-profit places as well. Their margins are very, very tight.
The proposed law would require child care centers to have 35 square feet of indoor space per child enrolled. It's been assigned to the House Families and Children Committee, but hasn't come up for a vote. A Senate committee passed a measure that would help Kentuckians build weather-safe rooms in their homes. Senator Stephen Meredith, a Republican out of Litchfield, sponsored Senate Bill 11, which calls for a pilot program to establish a safe room rebate fund. If passed, the state would provide rebates of up to $5,000 to construct or install a safe room. Meredith says he got the idea from a mayor in his district.
Mayor Billy Phelps from Morgantown, and he had received a substantial federal grant for a community storm shelter, which we're very appreciative of. But being in rural Kentucky, the thought of you hear a tornado warning, getting you into your vehicle and driving a considerable distance to have a community safe room doesn't make the most sense.
There is a catch. You have to let community members in if there's a storm. The legislation also directs the state to maintain a public list of available safe rooms. The bill now heads to the full Senate. A number of groups in Kentucky are asking lawmakers for more education funding in this year's budget. Protect Our Schools Kentucky, along with the Kentucky Education Association, say they are requesting an investment of $700 million for the state's public schools. They say recent studies show overwhelming public support for increased funding. The superintendent of Frankfort City Schools says they are at a critical juncture. They're concerned that SEEK funding, which goes directly into classrooms, is not keeping up with inflation and has actually decreased since 2008.
The state has not fully funded school transportation, despite a law requiring them to do so since 2004. And on average, inflation-adjusted teacher salaries across school districts in Kentucky are 20% less than they were in 2008.
Education leaders say they are seeking an 8% raise for teachers to hire 5% more staff to lower class sizes. A Senate committee led by Republican Ted Cruz heard from experts on the adverse effects of excessive screen time for children, impacting their well-being and development. They testified that parents who don't set screen time limits aren't the only ones contributing to the problem, citing research showing that the technology schools are incorporating for learning may actually be detrimental.
Kids need time to be kids, to experience the real world, not to get lost in a virtual one.
Once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly.
Cruz and Democratic Senator Brian Schatz also reintroduced legislation to help protect kids from the harmful impacts of social media. The Kids Off Social Media Act would set a minimum age to use social media platforms at 13 and prevent social media companies from using algorithms to feed addictive content to users under the age of 17. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News This Morning. Still to come, folks in one eastern Kentucky city mourn the sudden death of a man they say was devoted to celebrating those in the community.
And we're looking at some snow chances this morning, but another round of wintry mix comes into the picture later this evening.